members of Association International School. First of all, you're all very, very welcome to the seat of the presidency of our country, to Jubilee House. I noticed from the letter that you wrote asking to come here that you already are very familiar with what goes on here from the contents of your letter. You've had an opportunity also to visit and see what goes on in here. So I want to welcome you, and I'm especially thrilled that my granddaughter, Delia, has come to visit me here at my work. She sees me, the other side of me, the family, grandfather. This is the first time she has seen me. I know it's going to be the subject of a lot of discussions when she gets back home. But all of you are very, very welcome here. I think part of it is that you are familiarizing yourself with what goes on here. What work do we do? What does the president do? What are his functions, etc.? So let me try as briefly and as concisely as possible to explain a little bit what happens in this place. The first thing to understand is that we have a system of governance in Ghana which is based on what is called the separation of powers. It means that the three principal things that governments do: administer the country, make laws for the country, and provide avenues for citizens to decide disputes between them. All these three, that is the executive, the legislature, the judiciary, are divided. Each one has its own authority and independence. That is what the political scientists mean when they talk about the separation of powers. In history, there was the time in history, especially in European history and in the history of other countries, where all these three things were put in one man. In our own country, in the old days, the chiefs was the head of government, was the lawmaker, was the head of the judiciary. It was he who sat in state to decide disputes between his citizens, his subjects. It was he who made laws for the community, and it was he also administered the country. All these three main functions of government. There was a time in our history when they were all put together under one person. As we grew up, we came to realize that it was not safe to put all these powers under one person. Then it would be better to separate them so that each one could be a check on the other. The main reason being that we don't want to live under a dictatorship. We don't want to live in a state whereby one man does everything. He commands, he makes laws, he's responsible for putting people in jail, he's responsible for making the laws, and virtually one man has command of all our lives. We don't want that here in Ghana. That's why we have set up a constitution that has separated the work of these three important key arms of government. So you have the judges, who are the ones who decide disputes. When somebody takes your father's land or house, there's a place he can go to get redress. Those are the courts, and they're headed by the Chief Justice. Then you have the place where the laws of our country are made. Those are done by the members of parliament. They're elected by the people of Ghana to go and make laws for us. You can't drive on the left-hand side of the street. You can't park here. You can't do this. You can't do this. Those are all done by the parliament. And then finally, you have also the person in the group who are responsible for law and order, for administering the state, for making sure that things run properly in Ghana. That third one is where you are. You are here, the executive, who's responsible for the government of the country. So that's what I am. I am the head of the government of Ghana as the president. I hope it's clear to you. So this is my business, is to run the state, to make sure that Ghana works properly, that people get their salary on time, that the ministries work, that government works, that electricity and water and all those things are administered for your benefit, for the benefit of all the citizens of the country. So there's one important distinction here in Ghana. There's some countries where the parliament and the executive are one, like in Britain. The prime minister is a member of the parliament. Here in Ghana, the executive is separate from the parliament. And the executive is represented by the president. So when you are here, you are at the heart of the government of Ghana. The whole government system in this country is run out of here. And you'll be happy to know that at the center of the whole thing, the person who's responsible for making sure that the office of the president works well is a woman. That's this woman here. She's called the Chief of Staff. She's the one who runs the office of the president and makes sure that things work here so that they can work outside in the larger governments as well. But the office of the president is the one that coordinates the work of the government. You've heard of all these ministries: Ministry of Local Government, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Works and Housing, Ministry of Trade and Industry, all these ministries, and they look after the title, the subject matter of their title. But the coordination of the work of all of these people is done here at the presidency. So I am responsible for appointing ministers. I'm responsible for appointing people in the public service. Not just appointing, but also sometimes sacking the people if something goes wrong. But these are the critical functions of the presidency: coordinating the work of government and giving leadership to the government, deciding policy. The free senior high school was decided by me. I was the one who said, and I said so when I was campaigning to become president, that if I was elected president, I would bring a system of free senior high school education to Ghana. So when I was made president, it's one of the first things that I did. And the parliament followed me, then the Ministry of Education, then implemented the policy. The Ministry of Finance provided the money that enabled the policy to be. So the president is responsible for the administration of the state, he's responsible for the coordination of government, and he's also responsible for making policy, because he's the executive. We have in Ghana a president who is an executive president. He is the number one citizen who's responsible for keeping the state afloat. So here you have the people who help the president coordinate all these different activities that go on. If a decision is going to be made about what you should study, curriculum, there are people in the Ministry of Education who are responsible for deciding what are the things that should go into your studies. When they've made that decision, ultimately, they bring it up to me for me to approve or modify or change. So that's the role of the president, is to make sure that policies that affect the lives of people are the correct ones as much as possible, and that he is at the center of the whole process of making the policies and making sure that things run correctly. As you can imagine, it's a very, very big task, heavy responsibility, but fortunately, I don't do it alone. I have the Chief of Staff, I have the Secretary to the President, I have the Chief Director of the Presidency, I have all the ministers and then the officials of the Presidency who assist me to do this work. But so when you speak about Jubilee House, you're speaking about the office as well as the residence, because as Odilia will tell you, I live on these premises, but a different part over there, which is where Jubilee Villa is where I live. But these are the premises of the office as well as the residence of the President of the Republic. I don't know whether you have followed me and I've made myself clear. If not, please ask questions or interrupt me. Yes, go ahead.
So I heard that Ghana wanted to be like America some time ago. So how would we become like America?
No, I don't know that that is the objective of Ghana, is to be like America. Ghana is Ghana. You talk about the development of the country to be like America's development. Yeah, but that's not just America. There are other countries in the world that are developed. We're not necessarily following America. We're following our own development.
So, good afternoon. My name is Manuel. And please, how do you manage the country's affairs and your family's affairs?
At the same time? That's a good question. And a difficult question, because it's not easy. I spend too much time here. My wife, my children, my children, fortunately for me, are not like you. They're all grown up, having their own lives. Yeah, those of them who are married, they have their children, they have their own lives. So I'm not directly responsible for them. In fact, I see more of my grandchildren than I see of my children. But I try as much as possible to spend some of my time on a daily basis as well as during the week with my family. Whenever I'm here in Accra, I eat in the villa, I spend the time with the family. But the rest of my time is devoted to trying to run the country. It's not easy to have the balance between the two, but that is what I try to do. Yes, Miss.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency. Why did you want to be president, and how does it feel to be president?
That's a really deep question. Why did I want to be president? How does it feel? I think I have to sort of begin at the beginning. First of all, to be president, you have to be in politics. So the first question is, why did I want to be in politics? I wanted to be in politics because I believe that I have things in my head and in my heart that I could contribute to making our country better. And politics is a direct route for trying to help and improve things in your country. So that's the first thing. And also, in so doing, to help develop Ghana along certain lines. I mean, like what we have here today, democracy, open government, people having different points of view and being able to speak in public and contradict each other, even criticize the president and propose alternative views. I believe in that system. So that's one of the main things that motivated me to go into politics, to make sure that Ghana is a democratic nation. You don't become president on your own. People have to see that you have the capacity to be president, but you have to offer yourself. So why did I offer myself? I thought I had something to contribute. And fortunately for me, a lot of people believed me and helped me become president. You asked two questions. Why? And how is it like? How does it feel like? It's difficult. It's very difficult because you have the lives of 32 million people in your hands. That's the number of people that are in Ghana. And on an everyday basis, you're supposed to make sure that this 32 million people are okay. The health system is working, the education system is working, the electricity is working, water systems, all these things. And it's not always that they're all working. So you spend a lot of your time trying to find ways of making sure that these things work. So it's not easy. But it's a challenge. There's a challenge that I welcome, because that is what I wanted to do, is to try and help resolve some of those problems. So difficult though it is, it's a difficult burden that I am happy to carry. But I'll leave to other people to decide whether I've carried it well or not. That is not for me to decide. Other people can decide. I hope my answer makes sense. It does? That's okay. Good afternoon, madam.
My name is Addo, and I want to ask why, out of all people, did you choose Dr. Bawumia as your vice president?
Of all the people, why did I choose Dr. Bawumia as my vice president? Oh, goodness, those are many, many questions. But I think you're aware of our country in terms of the balance, people from the south, people from the north. I think that for the unity of the country, it is good that we have a leadership where northerners and southerners are together so that the country can remain united. He's from the north, and I wanted somebody from the north to partner me for the elections and then for the governance. He's also a very clever man, and I needed his brains to help me govern the country effectively. And he's an honest person. He speaks honestly to you. He's not one of those people who you have to guess what they're trying to say. He will say what he has to say very directly, and I like that. I prefer to deal with people who are also very direct in what they say. But these are some of the reasons why I chose Dr. Bawumia to be my vice president.
Your Excellency, please, how do you keep calm when people criticize your actions?
What?
How do you keep calm when people criticize your actions?
How do I keep calm when they criticize my actions? First of all, I think that that's a system of government that I've always wanted for this country. A country whereby presidents, people in authority, ministers, presidents, whoever you are, can be criticized. There was a time in Ghana when it wasn't like that, when one man spoke and that was that. I've never liked that sort of situation because I don't believe that you have a situation whereby one man knows everything. It's better to have a system where lots of ideas and lots of brains are brought forward to one thing. So that's the first thing, is that I approve of the system whereby people can criticize the president. So if that happens, it will look strange if I start getting agitated when people are criticizing me. I'm not God. I cannot be. None of us are. But we do our best. But criticism is a good thing. It helps you sometimes see things that you yourself have not seen. It opens up different perspectives. A lot of times you can disagree with your critics, but sometimes there's something in the criticism that is of use and of benefit which you can use to do. So that's the reason why I don't get agitated when people criticize me. I think it is their right to do so. But it's just as if it is my right also to ignore their criticism if I think that there's no substance in it. But that's the system that we have.
My name is Eliana, and I wanted to ask you that do you find it easy to do the things that us citizens who are not presidents do, like going to church and out to other places without attracting a crowd?
The second part is difficult because you're not the one summoning the crowd. But yes, to do the things that ordinary people do. I was for a long time an ordinary person before I became president. So going to church, I still go to church every Sunday. I'm a regular communicant and participant at the Rich Church, the Anglican Communion of the Rich Church. I'm part of it, so I go there frequently. I don't go shopping, which I used to do, because sometimes that when you do that, you can attract crowds. People see you in the shop, a lot of people will come with all kinds of stuff. So I don't do that too often. But as much as possible, I try to live as ordinary a life as possible and conduct myself like anybody else. So I want to thank you again very much, you and the head. Thank you very much indeed for coming to visit me. It was a great idea. I don't know whose idea was it, but it was a very good idea that you should come here for us to have this interaction. And I hope that coming here has opened your minds up to some of the things that we're doing, that you have a better understanding of the work that is going on here and the work that I have to do as president. I hope so. Yeah, okay.